What's up, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. So going live for a couple of hours here. Let me actually go ahead and send the Discord members the link here. So just give me 1 second. I hope you guys are all having a great start to your day. Markets are pretty much flat, very muted reactions to everything, but again, we're seeing that move. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Just give me 1 second. Nope, I need that thumbnail. Alright, so what's going on, everyone? How's everybody doing? We are good to go. So let me know in the live chat if you guys can see the screen and if you are able to hear me without any issues. There should not be any technical problems. But yeah, I mean, a lot of other factors, a lot of other data coming out later this week. We've got the JOLTS report tomorrow. That's going to go over the job openings. And we've got the CPI, that's the inflation data, coming out later this week as well on Thursday. All right, go, all good, perfect. So how many of you are excited about AMC? How many are actually trading or investing in AMC right now? Let me know in the live chat. Love to know from you guys. The options volume on AMC stock has really taken off to a whole new level. I'm seeing strike prices beyond over 125, 100, as high as $140. Those are the strike prices people are selling calls for, or writing calls for. Absolutely incredible, and there's significant open interest for that as well. So Nurbay, thank you so much for joining in. Jason, welcome. Kevin, perfect. Thanks for joining in, you guys. I really appreciate it. We'll do this for a couple hours. We'll get that notepad started. We'll do some technical analysis on these. So just watching from the sidelines, out of my comfort zone. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a really volatile stock, that's for sure. But I mean, it all depends on personal preference, right? What is your risk tolerance when it comes to AMC? Good morning, Vinod. Thank you so much for joining in. I just want to make sure that everybody got that message on the Discord chat. It's going live, perfect. Says offline. Should not be. This is the one that's working. All right, perfect. Yeah, we know that. I thought it was saying offline, but now it's working. So the VIX has been back and forth, right? So Red Day, Jason asked, it's kind of a tough, assessment. I think it's going to be potentially a red day too, only because last week also we saw leading up to the week we saw flat day, basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as there wasn't any visibility or clarity. But as soon as we got that report, so last week we had the of course the initial jobless claims, and then on Thursday we had another report, right? That was the I forgot what it was, unemployment report, right? So we added 550,000 and the expectations were a little bit 650,000. So we were right in the middle. It wasn't too bad or too good for it to move the market. So we did move up on Friday. But I think in terms of priority, we're moving up. So we got the unemployment report. This week we've got inflation. Next we've got interest rates. So I think it's going to be very interesting. So Gauss can mostly long-term building, so have a portfolio of long-term investing, and then we have short-term swing trades as well. As part of our Patreon and Discord, we do send out alerts for the swing trades that we have, if there's any opportunities for swing trades. So those are going to be for a few weeks, but never day trades in the markets. Mostly swing trades and long-terms. All right, so AMC is breaking out over $50. Did get an alert there for a second, but we are up a little bit over 2.5%. But this right here was the calendar that we have broken down, several times. So again, we had the ADP non-farm payroll report and the non-farm payrolls report for the month of May. Unemployment rate also dropped down to 5.8%. And moving forward, we got the JOLTS job openings. the OPEC monthly report coming out on Thursday, the CPI report, and then following Tuesday we've got producer price index and a lot of other things. So Ethereum looking like it's about to break out. Let's take a look. So Ethereum is going to be on a different chart here. All right, let's go over to cryptos here. So it's up over 4.5%, so that's good. It's almost breaking out over those moving averages, so that's a really good sign that Ethereum is on the move here. And Bitcoin has also been moving higher, so it's up a little bit over 2.5%, but Ethereum definitely pushing higher, you know, up over 4.6%. That's the resistance at 3,200 I would watch for Ethereum, previous support, and that's the major breakdown that we saw for Ethereum as well. Oh, that was supposed to be a question. So, I mean, yeah, we're definitely seeing that breakout over the moving averages, right? So you'll notice that the 21 EMA to 50 EMA, we have traded below that level. We've gotten a couple of rejections here, and this is going to be the new pattern. So actually, let me go ahead and delete some of these lines because I'm noticing something better for Ethereum right now. So we'll go ahead and delete these. We'll go ahead and delete these as well. So you'll notice that we had this breakdown for Ethereum, so we sold off over here, and now what Ethereum is doing is that it's forming some type of an ascending triangle, right? So it's got a resistance here at close to 28.85, so not quite a breakout just yet. It's got a resistance here at 28.85, and this right here is an ascending triangle. So what happens during these patterns is that you'll notice that the buyers are doing a great job making sure that the lows for Ethereum are much higher than previously formed. So we're not going as low as we did the previous time, and the bulls are basically, so the demand is pushing higher, right? There's more demand, but however there is some supply, or so to speak, like resistance at these levels at 29.20 or close to $3,000 levels at this level, and that's the level that Ethereum needs to break out and basically absorb all that supply for us to see a successful breakout to the upside. So yeah, that right there would be the resistance at close to 2,900, close to 2,910, and if you can get that breakout over that level. So yeah, that's going to be Ethereum's chart. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin's doing. So Bitcoin's still struggling a little bit. It's not quite there yet, but it's still forming a very similar pattern to Ethereum. And it's more so like a symmetrical triangle as opposed to like an ascending triangle. So you'll notice that we're forming some higher lows, but at the same time we're forming some lower highs. So, you know, we're kind of going into that wedge where in this scenario, it's like the buyers and sellers are basically equivalent in terms of control and the demand and supply here. So it can either break out to the upside or break down to the downside. And coming from a prior trend, which was down, so we were selling off, you know, here, coming in from highs of 58,000, the probability does suggest that we could see a breakdown to the downside, right? Unfortunately, and see a low of $30,000. So as opposed to Ethereum, you'll notice that there is clear buyer dominance because we are seeing higher lows being formed. So there's a higher probability that we see a breakout to the upside. And then for Bitcoin, you know, we want to be mindful of that $42,000. That's going to be the 200 simple moving average. That's the blue line you guys see on the chart, perfectly aligned with that resistance here. And, you know, as time goes by, would not be surprised if that 50 EMA, that yellow line, also catches up to that resistance at 42,000, and then 30,000 is going to be the support. I think 30,000 is a very strong level of demand for Bitcoin. I mean, we've seen that level tested like once, twice, three times, several times in the past. So that is definitely on watch for $30,000. BNGO is flying. Let's take a look. So BNGO, we did an analysis on it. It was like a subscriber special analysis not too long ago. So this right here was the complete analysis, right? So we were forming lower highs and lower lows, up over 13%. So that's incredible. And again, we were seeing that breakout over that moving average, and this is more of a continuation pattern. So really what needs to happen here with BNGO now moving forward is that we are breaking out over this previous resistance. This is coming in from April 27th. So you'll notice that this right here was the exact resistance that we got rejected at. There's a couple of things that are happening now. First of all, we're trading above the moving averages. That's bullish. The second thing is that we are trading above this previous resistance, right? That's also really strong. The third thing is that the volume is picking up. So on Friday, you'll notice that we traded almost 30 million shares traded versus like 17 million. So almost twice as many as the average 10-day volume. So what really needs to happen is exactly this, right? We need to see some more follow through and continuation, and we need to turn this $7.50 level as a support for BNGO for it to, if it were to come back down, it basically back tested this level and then makes the next leg up higher beyond $9.50 and $10 per share. So that right there is going to be a very quick breakdown, definitely breaking out over $7.50 right now. And if we can get that level to start acting as a support, then we can see the next leg up higher, potentially beyond over $10 per share. There are going to be some more resistance levels to watch. So this right here is going to be another one at close to 950 levels. Previous resistance we just got rejected. Again, that right there is going to be a level and come back down, break out to the upside once again. And that's going to be a higher high and higher low, more so like an uptrending chart, uptrending pattern here. BNGO possible short squeeze. David, that's a great question. Not really sure exactly what that short interest is for Binance Genomics. I can definitely take a look. So I know that Workhorse is definitely one of the top ones right now. So this is a very quick breakdown on high short interest stocks, and you'll notice that Workhorse is definitely at the top of the list at close to 42%. So definitely one of the bigger shorted stocks in the markets right now, followed by Clover Health, which is at 36%. We got Blink Charging, which is at 35%. The GEO Group, never heard of that company actually. It's at 34.5%. Bed Bath & Beyond is still up there, over 31%. And so AMC is at roughly 18 to 20%, right? It's been hovering around that level. It's actually been going up. And as more and more institutions are actually thinking about shorting AMC once again. So GameStop is sitting at 21% right now. So 21% for GameStop according to this data. Fubo TV is also at 21%. Carvana is at 21%. But I personally don't see BNGO on the list here. It could be still high, like the mid-teens or high teens. But yeah, definitely moving up. Probably highest short interest is PUBM. Really? Is it Pubmatic? That would be very interesting if it's Pubmatic on the list. Let me take a look. So I don't see Pubmatic here. Yeah. So it's not on this list. Maybe the updated data might show it. All right, so let's take a look at NEO scraping up in pre-market. Let's take a look. So, all right, NEO. Yep, it's down only 10 basis points. By the way, what are your guys' price targets on NEO? We'd love to hear, because I did put out a fundamental piece over the weekend on NEO stock, did some of my analysis. I'm projecting NEO to do just about 1 million vehicles or 1 million deliveries in 2024. So that's going to be 3 years out. I think that's a very reasonable target considering that this year it's at 90,000, my personal expectations. Going into next year, it's going to be about 250,000 vehicles, and then the following year 500,000, and the following year about 1 million vehicles by 2024. I think that's a very reasonable target considering that they're building their NEO park, and they're also renewing their partnership with the Jack to build 240,000 capacity per year, right? That's going to be 20,000 vehicles per month. So we haven't talked about Apple yet, so I'll definitely take a look at Apple here in just a second, but let me know what you guys think about NEO in terms of deliveries and the price targets that you have for the long term on the stock. All right, so Nurbis says it's on Finviz. Let's take a look. So short float, it says 46.39%. That's interesting. Finviz has been a little bit different with the data that it provides. Here, let me take a look at GameStop and try to compare those two here. Yeah, so short float for here, GameStop, it shows 21%, and then the high short interest we also looked at, it was 21%. But for some companies, it actually has shown a little bit different. Not really 100% positive exactly what is right in terms of Finviz versus some of the other data sources. I think Ortex is going to be the most accurate one. So right now for AMC, it shows 22.6%. Let's take a look at Workhorse. So Workhorse is at 42%. I mean, so far, Finviz has pretty much been right on some of the ones that we have looked at on other ones. So I think Pubmatic could be one of those also companies that is being shorted. But I think Pubmatic is definitely something that you want to consider, keep it on your watch, because it's been selling off. I mean, it's trading at $25 a share. This is a profitable company in tech space. and poised for some double-digit growth rates in the future. So I think that is definitely someone to consider. So Alpha says GME shorted way more than 20%. Definitely could be on the list for high short interest there. All right, so I have 1.3 million vehicles for NIO by 2025. Estimated revenue $95 billion US. 5 times price to sales per stock price is around 300. Yes, so price to sales is a great metric. Definitely, I have it at I had it at 3 times and 6 times, 2 different estimates. I think that's a very reasonable price to sales target. I've seen somewhere online people are taking 30 times price to sales, which is, in my opinion, a lot. Like, you know, they have a price target of $800 based on 30 times price to sales, which I mean, if you look at Tesla, it's trading at 16 or 17 times price to sales. Apple, Amazon, they trade at anywhere between 7 and 10 and 12 price to sales. So I think for NIO, you know, 3 to 6 times is very reasonable. Yes, so Nirbe, I'll definitely do a valuation analysis on Pubmatic as well. But you know, to give you a very simple example here on the company, you'll notice that we are substantially down. But just based on the income statement, you'll notice that they have a 17% profit margin here, 26 million profit in 2020 on 148 million revenue. If you look at statistics here, we don't have a price to earnings sales ratios, but considering that they are trading at 1.3 billion with $170 million revenue, so I think it's under 10 times sales. And I'll have to take a look at the EPS as well. So let's see. So income statement, if they have a diluted EPS here. So diluted EPS came in at 55 cents, right? So if you can do very simple math, 55 cents, so 27 divided by 0.55. They're trading at around 50 times price to earnings, which in my opinion on a trailing 12 month, and revenues are only expected to go up. 50 price to earnings and less than 10 times sales in this market, I think it's a reasonable valuation. It's not too high. I mean, you know, Square, Shopify, they're all trading at over 100 times price to earnings. So I think this is definitely something to keep on watch, right? At those support levels at close to $25, $24. All right, so Caddy, did I miss your thoughts on inflation? So inflation data comes out on Thursday. So we've got the CPI report. We also broke down the total CPI, core CPI reports in our yesterday's video. 4.2% year over year, what we have seen for total CPI and core CPI sits, of course, at 3% when you exclude food and energy. So I think the market is just waiting for that. The VIX is up a little bit, so we're up just about 1.16%, trading past over 16 levels. Again, this is the more so consolidation range, and you know, the market doesn't have to pull back, right? The VIX doesn't need to spike. It's just that they are correlating together at a point where we have inflation data coming out and interest rate decision is why the probability for us to be alerted right now is quite high. For us to see a push higher for the VIX past over 20 levels is high at these levels. You know, if it does break down below 15 levels, and yeah, I mean that's a green light to basically be bullish on the S&P 500, because of course when the VIX comes down, breaks down below support levels, you know, we're going to see those push high for the S&P 500 because they move in different directions. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys' support here. So yeah, keep asking questions if you have any, and I'll try to break that down as quickly as possible. So Jason, yeah, so the VIX is going to be right here, trading just over 16 levels, and the S&P 500, let's go over to the SPY. You know, we are at up over 8 basis points, so we are just at 422. And yeah, the monthly chart, it does look a little up there. It does look a little scary there on the monthly chart, but some of these candles that we're seeing, and the RSI, the MACD overextended here. So definitely something to keep in mind here. So when are you coming back to Boston? Not anytime soon, unfortunately. The pandemic here in India, we're still fighting it. You know, which is why the case where we are with the daily cases is still pretty high. And again, I haven't left the house in a very long time. So it's going to be a while until I make my way back over into North America. All right, so do you think AMD is still at a good buying price? Yes, I do. I believe AMD is. I'm just going to hold off on making more purchases until after June 15th and 16th. So you guys already know that, part of our Discord and Patreon. until we have some more clarity and visibility in the markets for inflation and interest rate. More so after tomorrow, I think we'll have a lot better understanding. Not tomorrow, Thursday, my bad. So after Thursday, we'll have a lot more visibility as to what the future could potentially look like, because if inflation comes in much higher than expectations, it has a sharp increase, then there's going to be speculation that the Fed is going to increase interest rates sooner rather than later. If it's muted, if it's lower than expectations, then the market is potentially going to see that as a good sign that inflation is in fact transitory. So that could be, as a result, driving the markets higher. But nonetheless, I mean, tech and growth, and again, we broke down the ARK Invest Kathy Wood video over the weekend as well. If you guys did get a chance to watch that, Tom Lee with Fundstrat basically did a very similar analysis and study, and he mentioned that the markets are going to peak when the number of millennials are going to peak, and that is going to be 2038. That is not going to be next year, the next few years. It's going to be 2038 is when the markets are potentially going to peak, and they are going to enjoy a 20% compounded annual growth rate for the next 7 years, so 2028. That was the most bizarre study and statistic and basically an analysis that I've heard in a long time. And Kathy would also mention that back in 1980s, they had a very similar analyst at Merrill Lynch who did an analysis of baby boomers, right? And how baby boomers for the next several decades are going to be the ones that accumulate wealth, and they're going to be the ones investing. And the markets did actually go up around inflation fears, and based on all the bearishness there was, they did go up. And I think that's the same study that we're seeing, but in terms of millennials, right? Millennials are they're expecting them to be 50% of the children born. They're expecting them to be 44% of the auto sales, 40% of the home sales, and I think over 66 to 67% or something are going to be potentially investing in the stock market moving forward as well. So the breakdown on Kathy was spot on. Thank you so much. So 20% sounds quite astounding to say the least. Yeah, it does. I mean, if you're 20%, that's like you're doubling your money in 5 years, right? And that is incredible. Thoughts on the 10-year yield today? I think it's going to be very muted. Where are we on the 10-year yields? So we're up a little bit over 1.3%, and as inflation data comes out, we could see that creep up a little bit moving forward as well. Again, depends on the inflation data now. What do you make of Elon Musk being threatened by Anonymous? I don't know. I haven't looked into much as to what they are, like what that organization is, or what do they do, and I don't even know what to make of that message. Like, challenged how? Like, you've met your match, but like how? What are they planning to do? So I don't know. I mean, I just have to wait and see what actually happens. So he says, sorry man, hope to see you if you ever come back, let the channel know. I will, definitely, yeah, for sure. I mean, wherever I am staying, I'll definitely let you guys know for sure, because I know there's people all over the world. Like, just right now, if you guys comment where you guys are from, we're gonna have a lot of people from around the world, and which is what I love about the community here, is that we've got so many people who love and share the passion of the stock market, and we can kind of work together and support each other from wherever we are in the world. Yes, BYND is flying pre-market. That is true. You know why? Because they actually released their report for the delivery numbers. I was reading that this morning. Incredible deliveries. So what is the ticker symbol here? This is not it. What is the ticker symbol for BYD? Does anybody know? So, all right. Yeah, does anybody know what so Spain, New Zealand, BYND? No, BYND is Beyond Meat. Yeah, BYND is Beyond Meat, right? So Denmark, that's awesome. Here, let me actually Google that very quickly. So yeah, BYD auto sales. Yeah, 1211. That's what I have on here. but that's also based on the Hong Kong market, and they are closed, of course, and they were down. So I think they definitely do have a listing in the United States, if I'm wrong. So BYDDF. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So pre-market, it is flat, looks like, but they definitely had deliveries of I think over 32,000. That was like 190%. So BYD posts May production volume of over 49,000 units versus 32,000, and they also increased that over 190% year over year, I believe. But yeah, definitely pushing higher and has seen some type of a pullback as well. So let's take a look at ACB as well, Aurora Cannabis. So this stock, of course, has been really volatile, has been back and forth quite a bit. And so I think there's going to be a strong support here. They're performing at close to, I want to say, $7 for this stock, and I think it's time that we start looking into these companies as well, especially in the sector that will potentially, at one point will be legalized, and since these stocks are down so much, that doesn't hurt to do some fundamental analysis on these companies. So $7 is going to be some type of a support. There's still a resistance from those moving averages. I mean, we haven't broken out since like 2019. That was the last time we were trading above the 21 EMA, where we had a resistance here. The 50 EMA falls breakout over here. So I think that is the most important resistance to watch for ACB. It's going to be at roughly $14, kind of aligned with that 50 EMA as well, and the 21 EMA. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Harry, welcome. All right, so yeah, going back to AMD, definitely I think it's a strong play here. Anything close to $74 support is an easy no-brainer add to money play, because it's got like a quadruple bottom or like 5 times support here, and it has moved up. The $84 is like the resistance. It's the resistance that AMD needs to break out, because it's like aligned with that 200 SMA. It's kind of flattened out, and it's perfectly aligned. Like, you'll just notice this is corresponding with that $84 resistance. So I think that's the resistance level to watch for AMD. So World Seeker, do you recommend options trading? Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, if you know what you're doing, if you have an understanding of options trading and you understand how it works and you understand the different strategies, absolutely. I mean, definitely, you can definitely learn more about it, online. And read more books and watch tutorials and whatnot. I've personally not traded options, but yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it if that's something you're interested in, 100%. So do you see a big correction in 2 weeks? That's a interesting question. So correction based on the S&P 500, yeah, I do see one. But it's just, trying to time it, and when that's going to happen is a tricky business in general, because it's almost impossible to time the market. We've talked about the RSI, the MACD, and how they can stay overbought for a long periods of time, right? So entire time over here, notice coming in from 2013 until 2015, like 2 years, the S&P stayed overbought on the monthly chart. So just based on the economic environment that we're in and how people are going to speculate on inflation and interest rates, that could add to the volatility in the market. So we're seeing the VIX up over 2%, trading past over 16.8, and that could result in the S&P to pull back a little bit. But I personally do not see like a crash or anything like that. Like anything over 20%, I personally do not see. Even over 15%, I don't see for the S&P or the Nasdaq. Maybe a correction here and there, and that's going to happen, right? But over the long term, I think the market is going to stay resilient to move up. All right, so let's listen in on some things here. We've got a lot of things running on the side. Well, we're on commercial right now, so I'll swing back on those. Yeah, so don't fight the Fed. Yeah, absolutely. Do not fight the Fed. So DNN, let's take a look at what DNN is. So Denison Mines Corporation. So definitely on the move here, coming in from lows of 20 cents. This has gone up over 600%. All right, let's listen on this very quickly, and then I'll jump back over to DNN.
Conversation, and it seems as though, in some ways, inflation worries have been unwound from a lot of markets.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks so much for having me today. I think that you're right. It's been a really interesting move in the rates market, especially as we've seen some kind of underwhelming payrolls and employment information come through. And I think that investors really looked at the recent inflation prints and looked at the really significant moving pieces that were driving inflation higher and kind of looked to those things and said, well, you know, perhaps used cars increasing at 10% year over year is probably not going to be a sustainable thing for an extended period of time. And so we've really seen this violent reaction in the rates market. And for credit, that has meant a lot of stability overall as investors continue to figure out, where am I going to put my cash to work so I can generate some sort of income over the foreseeable future? And really maintaining kind of a positive view on corporate credit is very much predicated on all of that liquidity and excess cash that's going to take a lot of time to absorb, even if we see inflation.
So, Luke, we seem to have moved from transitory, which has become a drinking game on Bloomberg surveillance, to persistent. Is that right?
Well, I'm not quite sure we can make that jump yet, and it's because of what Winnie was essentially talking about there. That we do see that some of the factors driving inflation now are likely to subside. However, on the other hand, what's going to happen with shelter inflation, with OER over the next 6 months to 18 months, and that's where we see kind of this ability for by year end, the inflation upside risk story and this transitory versus persistent debate to still be ongoing. So the drinking game should continue well into year end in our view. And that's because, in part, a lot of the methodological differences between CPI and core PCE. So even if energy prices just essentially do nothing, they're going to be still contributing to some good solid headline CPI inflation over the course through year end. Yeah. And at the same time, we do see the lagged effect of last year, the rental inflation and housing inflation really starting to trickle through at the same time that core PCE is really decelerating. So by year end, the Fed's going to be able to say, hey, look at this trend in core PCE. Like, we're right. It's transitory. Aha, we win. Market-based measures of inflation, if they're focusing on headline CPI, are still going to be able to say, well, this might be a little uncomfortably high. This is still higher than we expected. Maybe there's still some cause to say that you're wrong. Well, so we see this kind of enduring source of friction on inflation between markets and the Fed.
And Luke, just real quick here, I was looking at a metric on a 2-year basis to compare CPI and core PCE, and it actually is trending a little bit higher than the average over the past decade. What metric, at what point in the year can you actually start to make the call between transitory and persistent?
So that's what's great for us, is that we're not trying to out forecast anyone on inflation. And so we think until at least through year end, you won't be able to definitively make that call. And what instead we're trying to focus on is, how does the market react to an environment in which inflation is both, the risks are more skewed to the upside and the outlook is more uncertain. That's what we're trying to center on in terms of how does that inform our asset allocation? And for us, an environment of heightened inflation risk and uncertainty is conducive to U.S. dollar weakness, as long as the Fed continues to not really want to tighten in light of it, which so far seems to be state of play. And it's a playbook for kind of more pro-cyclical assets to outperform in the equity space. And I think we're seeing more the rest of the world equities start to take.
So Harry says that if there is going to be a correction, there is going to be a correction in value stocks. I couldn't agree more. And after listening to Kathy from Market Invest, she also mentioned, and this was really interesting. This actually didn't even hit me when I was listening to her. And she basically says that when we reopen the economy, and base effects doesn't only apply to inflation, it also applies to value companies. Because when you are coming from a negative growth environment, which we saw for value stocks or value companies, so to speak, last year in April, May, June, July, and when you see that reopening of economy, when people are starting to spend more, their earnings, their revenue actually shoot up in the first few months, because there's significant pent-up demand that's coming into the market. So those year-over-year comps look incredibly good. And they're actually giving growth stocks and growth companies a run for their money, right? Because if a value company is growing like a growth company, why go for a more riskier bet when you can simply own value stocks and they're actually growing like a growth company? But is this sustainable? That's the real question. And she says this is not sustainable, and value companies are basically setting up for a fall, and growth and tech names are going to push higher. And innovation-based strategies, so to speak, are actually going to push higher in the time horizon that they have. And they actually said that they knew this was going to happen. Like, they knew innovation-based strategies are going to get hurt in an inflationary environment. But nonetheless, I think growth will still win out eventually over the long term, I believe strongly. Good morning from Germany. Welcome, welcome. And thoughts on AMD being up 10% month over month? Is it month over month here for AMD? So DNN, definitely the trend is shifting for this stock. The resistance I would watch very closely is going to be right around this level at close to $1.70. Because in the past, you'll notice a lot of consolidation right at that level. Like, we just failed to break out over that resistance several times before finally breaking down. There is going to be some support at close to, I want to say, $1 per share. Because again, we have just consolidated between that range, and that right there is going to be the support level to watch. So yeah, that right there, breakout over $1.75. Vincent says, so Caddy, do you think there's going to be a green or red day on the indices? I may think that there might be like a flat day. Like we saw earlier last week when the SPY and the NASDAQ basically didn't do anything until like Thursday, Friday. When Thursday they had a fall, Friday they had a gain. So I think that may be just another, muted week to start off at least. And then as we approach Thursday, which is going to be the big day of inflation, that's when you see that, spike in the VIX or breakdown in the VIX, and the market react accordingly. So where do I think NEO and Palantir will end this week? So I can't tell you exactly where they will end the week, but I can tell you where they probably won't. For NEO, I strongly believe that it won't, trade under $40, because that is a really strong support, and we've got 3 moving averages aligned at the 21 EMA, the 50 EMA, and the 200 simple moving average sitting perfectly at that level. So it would take a lot of selling pressure and like supply from the bears to break us down below those moving averages once again. I mean, this is, a first time in a long time where NEO is trading back over those 3 important moving averages. So support is strong at $40. There's definitely a lot of support for NEO. For Palantir, I think there is, again, we're seeing some type of a trend reversal, and we're trading above those moving averages as well. So 2250 or 2250 levels is going to be the support level for Palantir as well. And right now, we're fighting that resistance with the overhead supply for both Palantir and NEO. So Palantir is going to be a little bit over $24, and for NEO, that's going to be over between $40 and $43 right here. So yeah, appreciate you doing this every day. So informative, knowledgeable. Love that you incorporate Catalyst and use it instead of just technical. So thank you. I appreciate you joining in, and I'm glad that you find these helpful. So thanks a lot. Waiting for the new reports. Yeah, so definitely that's going to be super important for the markets. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about inflation on Thursday? Are we going to see CPI, core CPI, run up a little bit higher, or did I freeze? Oh my god, what just happened? Yeah, my internet just froze. Great. Freaking great. Oh, you guys can still hear hear me? Okay. Am I good? No, I don't think this is working right now. Oh, there we go. I do hear something. What just happened? Oh, there we go. All right, so I think we're back on. Oh my god, I missed so many messages. All right, so I didn't freeze. Okay. All right, so perfect. You guys are able to hear me and see me as well. Forgot what I was talking about, but yeah, so I was gonna pull up the inflation data. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about inflation this week, right? Thursday is gonna be super important. So, and again, if you guys want to check it out for yourself, simply go to bls.gov. We've actually shared a whole list of resources. So if you guys want to get access to the resources like that we use on a regular basis, this is going to be our Discord. I'm going to go over very quickly. So this right here is a lot of resources that I've posted on our market updates channel. So all the important resources that I use. This includes the Federal Reserve's website, includes the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Bureau of Economic Analysis, Econ Day, the White House, Bloomberg TV, Finviz, TradingView, SEC.gov, CNBC Post, a lot of different sort of places where you can get data. Like you can get a lot of analysis on here. So you can come to bls.gov and simply come over to inflation. So consumer price index, latest numbers. You can use data tools. So, and then CPI data, interactive charts, right? So when you open that, it's gonna open like the 12-month changes for those. And then you can select from this drop down 12-month for the past 20 years. And when you hit go, it'll show you what that total CPI looks like, right? So that's why we're seeing that jump of 4.2% year over year. We're hitting like a October 2008 high. So that's like 13 year high for the total CPI. When you look at core CPI, which is going to be all items as food and energy, we're almost at 3%, which is going to be even a higher, like a 14 year high for the core CPI. One of the things you'll notice is that when you look at food, it's actually trending down, right? That's what I was mentioning in my previous video, is that just because we're seeing raw materials and manufacturing go up, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see like get passed over to the end consumer either. You'll notice that services have actually been pushing higher recently, right? So people are moving away from durable goods more towards services. Medical care services have actually been trending down aggressively as well, as less and less people need medical care services. Gasoline, which is more volatile, up over 49%. I think that's the big piece here that we need to watch. And actually, OPEC meeting is also, or the report comes out tomorrow, or Thursday. So Thursday at 7 a.m. we've got the OPEC monthly report. It's going to give us some more indication as to what we can expect in terms of the supply and demand of oil moving forward. All right, so perfect. Lumber and commodity prices, futures are trending downward. Yeah, so that's also kind of like been the theme and the commentary from Kathy Wood, is that they're not sustainable and they are going to come down in the future. All right, so QQ's pulling back down 16 basis points in the red, and SPY is also down pretty much flat on the day. I hope you guys didn't lose you. So Tesla FUD story is already out. Elon's tweet on Plaid Plus. Yeah, I did see something very similar to that. Let me see what he actually tweeted related to that. So Elon's also been changing so Model S goes to Plaid speed this week. So Plaid Plus is canceled, no need as Plaid is just so good. So 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 2 seconds is what he also said. He's also been changing his profile picture so much. So there's no live chat here. Are you guys able to see or hear me okay? Because I don't see any live chats. Just want to make sure. All right, so this is a year-to-date chart of all the S&P 500 select sector indices, and of course the yields have been the ones pushing the most, followed by energy, which is up over 46%, in financials up over 32%, and tech is up over 9.5%. So still a good way to monitor this, and you know, who's actually going to lead out at the end of 2021 with sectors, right? Energy definitely has a huge lead, 47% up. Financials up over 30%. Some banks like Bank of America, I think, is up over like 50% year to date. It's just been on a huge rally here, Bank of America. So year to date, it's up over 42%. What an incredible move. You know, starting in October specifically, it's up like 90% almost. So you think I should jump in on NEO at 42? That's a great question. So really, it depends on, first of all, your analysis and fundamental thesis on NEO as well. In my opinion, this is still reasonable levels for NEO. I would wait for maybe like, you know, until Thursday to do any more buying because of the inflation data that's coming out. And when that happens, the macro markets, you know, they have the tendency to actually drop individual stock prices as well. So, you know, we've seen that in March, we've seen that in April as well. When inflation data comes in a little bit higher than expected or has these sharp increases, market speculates for an interest rate increase, and then that results in the overall market to drop and individual stock price to also come down. So again, I would wait for a few more days after Thursday. Is we're gonna have a little bit more clarity and visibility on the markets, and then we can start doing some buying here on some of the stocks. But yeah, anything under $40 for me for NEO is a good entry for the long term here. So the Nasdaq definitely pulling back. We're seeing that VIX up over 2.5% at this point. Let's take a look at AMC. We haven't checked up on AMC in a long time. So we are up almost 6%, and we are trading back over $50 per share. So definitely seeing that potential breakout outside of this descending triangle. On the 1 hour chart, it's very clear, and how you'll notice that we are consistently just forming these lower highs, you know, trading right at these lower high levels where AMC is just getting rejected at, and a potential breakout to the upside if we can get that rejection or a breakout of that resistance at $55, right? So that right there is going to be some type of a resistance as well to watch for AMC. Previous resistance right here that we got rejected and pulled back. So there is a lot of options volume for AMC that I was looking at. So this right here is Webull, and you'll notice this is AMC, and if you just look at the calls, right, scroll down to like June 18th, scroll down, like these are the strike prices all the way going as high as like 90, you know, 110, 115, 120, 125, 135, 140, $145, you know, strike price. So those are incredible, you know, levels. Like from these levels for AMC to go up that high, those are just on a whole different magnitude. And open interest like 16,870, 2,545, and this is on June 18th expiration. June 18th is like what, next week? Yeah, so next Friday, right? So absolutely incredible volume and options activity on AMC. But yeah, breaking out over $51 here. How many of you guys think that we're gonna test $75 or $80 or $100 this week for AMC? How many of you guys actually think that we're gonna actually go up there? Bell in 10, yes, 10 minutes to go. And we got the markets open and ready. So in terms of taxes, I know there was a couple of questions about taxes as well. So corporate taxes, looks like we're going to probably settle under 28%. And of course, with the European Union also expecting accepting a minimum corporate tax rate of about 15%, that's also going to be very important. And then we've also got the capital gains tax, which we're moving in a more capital-friendly stance in the United States as well. So maybe as Europe, they blocked the AMC buy only sell. Really? No way. Did they really do that? I don't believe it. In Europe, they blocked AMC buys and only sells. That is crazy. So I didn't find the Europe one, but I did find this. TD Ameritrade limits trading on AMC Entertainment. So they place trading limitations on AMC shares. Trading in the stock will be limited to clients with own capital on hand and not borrowed funds. Adding that there might be some additional requirements on trading options that expire on June 11th. So this is more of a margin maintenance limitation as opposed to only buying or selling. But still, I mean, margin, it's a way for them to basically say that they don't want to risk their own margin. So we're up a little bit over 8% now, trading just under $52. So AMC's little brother BV BlackBerry stock, let's take a look. Is it up? So it's up over 5%, and this was a much bigger move coming in from June 3rd, June 4th. Of course, trading all the way to highs of $21 alongside with AMC. It has a very similar pattern, right? So there's a strong support at these levels at close to like $13.90. You'll notice previous resistance here, support, and we're potentially seeing that breakout over the moving averages as well. So, this could have a follow-through continuation, volume spike if, of course, AMC also sees that breakout to the upside as well. Yeah. So, all right. So let's take a look at the markets here. Very quick update. We've got QQQs down about 17 basis points, and SPY is pretty much flat on the day, with the VIX up a little bit over 2.5%. Let's take a look at some of the individual stocks. So start with EVs here very quickly. So we got 7 minutes to the bell. ChargePoint trading exactly at $28. We've got Tesla that's trading at $5.94, down about 84 basis points. CCIV is up almost 2%. CCIV has been on the move, right? It's been on a strong move to the upside, breaking out over those moving averages. So definitely watch this stock for a potential breakout even more. XPeng has also moved up quite a bit over the last 3 weeks, coming in from lows of $23, $24, jump over 60%, under $37 right now, up over 46 basis points. Li Auto up over 76. We got NEO slightly down on the day so far. So Nvidia, let's take a look at Nvidia. So Nvidia is overbought, right? I'm not gonna beat around the bush. It is overbought right now on both daily and weekly charts. Especially on the daily chart, we're over 76. The good thing is that there's no negative divergence so far, right? The pattern is still strong. There's a lot of breadth and volume behind this move. So you'll notice that the volume is also much higher than the average 10-day volume. The RSI has been pushing higher, making higher highs, and so is the price. So there's no negative divergence pointing to a significant pullback, but just based on the RSI being overbought and the move being driven simply based on the stock split news, as far as I know of, because there hasn't been any news other than the earnings that came out, which we also broke down, super strong earnings for the company. They're just pushing higher, right? So I'd be careful. I mean, if you're not already in on Nvidia, I would basically in my opinion, not be buying at these levels, because certainly the move has already happened. Doesn't mean that it can't go any higher. It certainly can, but it's just the risk reward is not there until after we see any type of a correction or a pullback for Nvidia. If you're already in this trade, then again, it basically depends on the time horizon. If you're a long-term investor in Nvidia, it doesn't really matter where it goes in the short term. But if you are, as a swing trade or a day trader in this, then I would consider trimming some, having a trailing stop loss, just because it's overbought. Technically, it's pushed up, coming in from like 540. It's gone up over 30% in just the last 2 weeks. So Tesla's pre-market volume is low at close to 250,000. All right, so let's take a look at some other stocks here. So Amazon, down about 19 basis points. Let's take a look at Apple. BlackBerry mooning target $50. Love it. That's awesome. So Apple, flat on the day, 126. We got support at 124, resistance at 127. Pretty much just trading about that 207 moving average. Another thing I want to mention is that for Apple, the 200 SMA is so important, because I don't even know when the last time we actually broke down. This was the last time, and this was during the pandemic when we actually broke down below the 200 SMA, and since then we have never broken below the 200 simple moving average. So that's a key support level for Apple to validate. If I'm betting my money on between 200 SMA and the pressure that we're getting between the 21 to 50 EMA at the top, I'm going to bet it on the 200 SMA. So definitely I do see a potential breakout of the upside over 127 for Apple over those moving averages. All right, so next up, let's take a look at PayPal has been on the move, right? So Friday it was up a little bit over 2%, 263 levels. It's forming a really solid symmetrical triangle, so to speak. So we're seeing these lower highs being formed and some higher lows being formed as well. So a breakout could be coming for PayPal as well in the future. All right, so we got 3 minutes left for the markets to open. What do you guys think? Red or green day for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500? Let me know in the comments section in the live chat right now. Until then, we'll take a look at NIU for TAP. So isn't Neo Technology, is this like a scooter company or something for electric vehicles? I could be wrong, but or no, this might be a different company. Yeah, this is different. All right, so tiny red, green. Chris says green. So it's got a really strong support tap at close to $26. That's the level I would watch. It looks like we're forming some type of a descending triangle again for TAP as well, for NIU. So would not be surprised if you do get like a little bit of a breakdown, consolidation here, and then a breakout to the upside. Okay, so yeah, I'm right. So it's for EV bikes. Okay. Yeah, so this is the EV company. So yeah, it's forming some type of lower highs here, strong support at close to $27. So would watch something very similar to this. We come down, retest these lower highs, and come back down, retest, and then see a potential breakout to the upside for NIU. And a resistance to watch moving forward is going to be somewhere around here at close to 3850 levels. Very aligned with this level, got rejected. In line with this, right? So previous two resistance levels we got rejected, and if you can get that breakout over this level, that would be higher highs for the company, right? Breaking out over the historical high in the past. So indecision until CPI data, yeah. So that's very, very true. I could see that too happening, and we are pulling back for the QQQs a little bit, and the SPYs as well. All right, so AMC is up over 9% now. Let's go. I'm just happy for you guys, all of you guys that are investing in AMC, up over 9%, trading past over $52. Let's take a look at GameStop. Where's GameStop trading? Is it following through? Up over 3%. Definitely seeing that breakout. For GameStop, we haven't actually hit the high that we did coming in from like when the short squeeze happened for GameStop to like 400 at something. Like it was trading past over 487. But it's still pretty elevated, right? And the short interest is still at over 20%. So that's very interesting. But AMC on the move once again. AMC could very well be like a hedge right now against the market. It's a really risky and volatile play. So I want you guys to do the research that you will with AMC, with any other stock, and understand all the risks associated with the company and the stock price in general. But with the idea that the markets are pulling back and we have AMC stock pushing higher, it's incredible, right? It's being seen as a hedge against the broader markets right now. All right, so the markets are open. NASDAQ down about 14 basis points here, and we've got SPY trading at 422.62, up pretty much flat on the day. Let's go over to the 5-minute chart here for AMC to see if you can get that bullish momentum on the day. So I'm going to bring out the VWAPs here. Let's go over to the 1-minute chart. And just, coming in from like 8:47, 8:48 a.m., we've seen a lot of volume kick in. That's been a jump up over 7% with some volume also pushing higher. So that's good for AMC stock, right? So what I'll do is I'll basically keep 3 patterns here, or we'll just keep 2. And we'll do the 5-minute and the 1-minute chart on both. So this is going to be the 5-minute chart here for AMC, and this right here is going to be the 1-minute chart. All right, so let's do this one as well. 4 stocks. We need 4 stocks. We can add these to our watch list here very quickly. So we're gonna add NIO, Tesla. Those are the 2, and just comment 2 more, and then we'll add those in the live chat. So NIO, we have it on the top left here, just trading under $42. We're pretty much flat on the day so far. All right, let's put Apple here, and we can switch around between different stocks, right? So Workhorse, I just heard, is pushing higher, over 9%. Look at that move in Workhorse right now. Trading past over $14. A lot of volume kicked in. We are right now trading at just under 3 million shares for Workhorse. And look at that jump in AMC, is up over 13% right now. Absolutely incredible move on the 1-minute chart. Massive bullish candle came in with a volume of 5.46 million shares. But yeah, I mean, definitely look at that breakout happening on the 1-minute chart for AMC, up over 16% right now. Definitely a lot of bullish sentiment and momentum kicking in with a lot of volume. So AMC is already at 28 million shares traded. So again, that's the resistance. Let's see if we can actually close that candle above that $55 level. That's the red line you guys see on the 1-minute chart here at top. We got about 1 minute left. Oh, there we go. So we just closed. We closed under that resistance at 55.30. So that right there is going to be the resistance here. So DocuSign is going crazy. So the VIX under 17 right now, up almost 3% here. So Tesla hovering over 590 levels. So that 590 is acting as a support. NIO is just over $41. Workhorse is now up over 14.27, and Apple is seeing a little bit of a retreat here. Right at market open. So AMC, again, that's the resistance, right, at $55.30. That's the level that we also talked about, earlier. If you go over to the 4-hour chart, you'll notice that we are seeing that breakout happen. So that's the breakout over that descending triangle, so lower highs. But the next resistance is this same resistance coming in from like June 4, June 5th that we got rejected at, right? So that's a $55 level. So back over to our 1-minute chart here. So all right, so this right here is going to be the 5-minute chart, and on the left you've got the 1-minute chart. So we're seeing that breakout here for AMC. Let's see if we can actually close about that candle, right? So we got about 30 seconds, 20 seconds right now left. And that is the resistance to watch. Seeing a little bit of a rejection there right now. In terms of, so right now we're testing that middle VWAP here. Let's see if we can get that support. Looks like we are going to break down. So 55.30 is the resistance on the day, and also the resistance coming in from June 4th and 5th last week. That's the level that AMC needs to break out over in order for us to see some more follow through and continuation. Guys, do me a favor, if you guys have enjoyed this stream so far, please make sure that you tap that like button. It really helps out the channel. tremendous way. I really, really appreciate it. Right now we have 74 likes. Let's see if we can get at least up to over 100 likes on the stream. I would really appreciate that. Again, this right here is going to be the 5 minute. We're seeing a bit of a pullback for AMC. The SPY is as flat as it gets. Literally, like right now, we're 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Nothing. No movement. And the NASDAQ is also pretty much flat, down about 8 basis points. This right here is going to be our other watch list. So Tesla definitely making some moves here. Just trading over 590 here. The resistance is 600. Let's see if we can actually break out over that level for Tesla. And Workhorse is also pulling back with a huge pullback here on the daily candle, on the 1 minute candle, down about 3% here, 1375. And Apple is just trending lower, right? So lower lows being formed, and NIO is also fighting that level. All right, so middle VWAP just held up by a notch for AMC. We'll see if you actually do see any type of a follow through, or if we see any type of a push higher. So BNGO plus 23%. That's incredible. That is fantastic for Bionanogenomics. So Workhorse seeing a bit of a pullback here now. Let's take a look at BNGO. So up over 22%, back over $8 on a lot of volume as well. So 12.22 million here. All right, so let's take a look at AMD here. On the day, we are down slightly over 21 basis points. Let's take a look at Nvidia. Still going. Still going. It's at $707. High for the day, $712.50. That's the all-time high for Nvidia. This just set at 712. Nvidia seems to be topping at 710. Yeah, we're seeing that pullback now from Nvidia, right? That's the move downward. Apple, again, doing what Apple does best, making lower lows and selling off. Switch back over to Tesla here. And let's take a look at Shopify down right.
Meme stocks. But first, Lisa, let's take a look at a piece of the reopening trade. The cruise lines are trading higher. This on the news that Norwegian Cruise Line, they've announced additional U.S. voyages sailing from New York, L.A., Miami, and Alaska cruise. Of course, contingent on CDC certifications, but you can see some gains here. As for the moves, the wild moves in both the meme space and the Bitcoin space, let's take a look at AMC and Naked Brand. We will see continued great gains. The meme mania continues to go on. A short squeeze, a gamma squeeze. Bitcoin, however, not so much. Now, Bitcoin itself is higher, but Coinbase down a little bit, and then MicroStrategy down 1.5%. Get this, Lisa, as I'm sure you know, MicroStrategy is planning on selling $400 million in debt to buy more Bitcoin. Perhaps not the most solid plan, so some investors not rewarding the company on the day. And then finally, to round it out, we have some retail winners. G3 Apparel up 7.5%. They put up a very strong quarter. Zumiez, the action apparel company, up also after a strong quarter. And then Chico's, Barrington Capital, is saying that they should explore strategic options. The stock is up 6.3% in response.
Abigail, thank you. And you mentioned Bitcoin. Let's talk about it. MicroStrategy founder Michael Saylor calling it the most reliable asset. Here's what he had to say.
If you're looking for a safe haven, I see Bitcoin as the most secure, most reliable, most certain thing in the entire economic universe. And if you're looking for some place where you can store your life force or your economic energy, you know, there's no real question.
Brian, do you agree? No real question. It is the only and the most stable of all assets.
Well, it certainly hasn't behaved as such. I mean, I know there was a lot lot of interest in it once Bitcoin got above 50,000, 55,000. I know some people buying it at 58,000. So, that waking up this morning, wherever we are, 37,000 or so, I'm not sure if those investors have felt that it's the most reliable. I mean, my message is that, it's still speculative in nature. There's significant volatility embedded in the asset class. To the extent that investors want to participate, they should make sure that they understand the level of volatility that they're bringing into their portfolio. I think, far too often we're seeing a sort of all or nothing from investors. Make sure you understand the volatility. There may be a place for it in the portfolio, but make sure you're not going to extremes. And, as far as secure, safe asset classes or even currencies, I mean, look, the US dollar has been a very strong performing currency for a very long period of time because the United States has been a stalwart with regards to growth. Now, a little bit of weakness recently given all of the stimulus that's been brought to the market, but over time, the US dollar has been a very stable, as have US Treasuries, a stable asset class. So I don't think I'm ready to coin, pardon the pun, Bitcoin, the most stable asset class yet.
And Michael, I assume that you would agree. And I guess that I'm wondering, though, how important it is for you every day to look at Bitcoin, to give you some information either about market trends or, frankly, about that asset class's haven appetite.
I mean, I think you always have to kind of look at it, but I do look at it as sort of peripheral to what's happening in the broader equity markets and rates markets. If Bitcoin went to 5,000 tomorrow, of course, it would drive a lot of drama, but I think ultimately more traditional assets would kind of shrug it off. There's clearly would be a wealth effect. I will say one thing here. I put out 2 bearish notes on Bitcoin based purely on technicals earlier this year. I think, with this crypto conference in Miami just finished, one question remains, which is that institutions are really key to lifting Bitcoin up into the $50,000 to $60,000 range. And I think right now, if I were running, an endowment or an institution,
All right, we'll kind of swing back because I know there was a conference in Miami for cryptos. I'll see if I can watch it, kind of summarize it the best I can. But boy, oh boy, AMC up over 15%, still fighting that resistance. We're almost on that breakout over $55.30. Let's see if we can actually close that candle above that level. And again under rejection. We got 5 seconds left for this candle to close. This is the second time we're getting rejected for AMC at that level, right? There are sellers present at this level for sure. There we go. So another rejection there at 55.30. So that right there is going to be the level. So if we actually form some type of a higher low for AMC, that's going to potentially be some type of an ascending triangle here. That could eventually lead to a breakout to the upside, right? That's going to be the resistance here, ascending support here, and then a potential breakout to the upside. We'll kind of circle back to see if it actually does happen. Let's go over to some of the stocks. So NEO definitely pointing upwards with a huge bounce here, just trading under $42. Down about 14 basis points. We've got Tesla just trading under 590 now, and the CCIV is on the move, up over 5%, with the markets basically flat on the day. The S&P 500, this is as flat as it gets, and for QQQs we are down about 18 basis points. All right, so let's take a look at. I'm gonna open up a new chart, and maybe we'll do some technical analysis for 15 minutes on some other companies. So I see. Dave, or no, somebody was asking you about Teladoc. Yeah, somebody was asking about Teladoc. We'll kind of cover that very quickly. Nope, this is not the chart that I wanted. Although this is a good chart. This is the one that I was looking at earlier. I found it. So year to date, you'll notice that everything that is in green is actually in green. Everything that is down here in red is in red. So we got electric vehicles over here, right? So we got XPeng, Li Auto, Tesla, NEO, ChargePoint, Hyliion, Workhorse, and Lordstown Motors. And after the rally that we've seen in Ride and Workhorse, now they're down about 35-37%. Tesla's down about 19%, and NEO is down a little bit over 21%. But Ford, look at Ford, up over 86%, almost doubled year to date, and GM is up almost 57%. Tesla briefly was over here green on the year, and then we continue to sell off even further. So this was the chart that I was trying to find earlier that I couldn't find, and now I have. So yes, so wait for a few more minutes for the volatility to kind of stabilize a little bit, and then we can make some decisions here. So all right, chart number 2, we're gonna close actually some charts. So NEO, look at that, up over 40 basis points here, so on the move over $42. Let's see how, so AMC actually broke down below this higher low, still getting rejected at that $55.33. So next support is going to be at $53. That's the low for, that's the higher low, so to speak, over here for AMC. So I'm going to close out this chart. QQQ making some type of recovery, still down about 11 basis points, and the S&P is also pretty much flat on the day. So nothing really interesting going on over there. So Teladoc, we're gonna have to do some new fresh analysis on this. You'll notice that we were seeing significant divergence for the RSI and the price, right? So this was the higher highs, and the RSI just making lower highs. So no doubt that we saw a huge breakdown for Teladoc. There's an alert that went off. NEO crossing over 42.30. Let's check back on that very quickly. So up about 80 basis points here. The Tesla is just struggling at over 590, but NEO definitely on the move here on the day. All right, so let's circle back to Teladoc. So Teladoc was making some type of a negative divergence. Now you'll also notice that we had some type of a bear flag forming for Teladoc before we saw another breakdown, right? So usually what happens with these bear flags is that this was a sell-off, then we saw some type of a bear flag to the downside, same, just the opposite of a bull flag, and then a breakdown even further, right? So that's what happened here for Teladoc. Support level for this is going to be sitting roughly at close to 135.85. The RSI and the MACD are very, very oversold right now, so I could see some more upside for Teladoc in the future. This actually may be lining up for a good swing trade opportunity. The only thing is that we're trading below the moving averages, right? The 21 and the 50 EMA, those are the moving averages that we're trading underneath, and there is going to be a resistance at close to 167 levels, previous support, potentially a back tested resistance as the moving averages also get aligned with those levels. So that right there is support. We're seeing a breakdown below the bear flag and potential resistance at 167 moving forward. All right, let's break down SENS very quickly. I think we have this on a different chart. Not sure if I have an analysis on this. Let me check. All right, so we do, and we were forming some type of a descending triangle for this as well. So here was a symmetrical wedge or a symmetrical triangle, lower highs, higher lows, break out to the upside, and then we started forming these lower highs alongside with this horizontal support, and then eventually a breakout over that resistance of $2.40. So now there is going to be some more continuation. We are certainly trading above the 21 and the 50 EMA here. So the new support level to watch for this stock is going to be sitting at 240. So that's the new support, also aligned with that 2150 EMA as we move up higher. And the resistance it needs to break out in the future now moving forward is going to be at 335, right? That's the level to watch for Sensonics moving forward. All right, let's go back over to NEO. So it's now up over 1%, trading past over $42. This has been kind of like the trend for the last few days for NEO, right? It's just been, selling off at the open, and then it kind of rallies towards the end of the day, or like as the day goes on. And Apple just down over 0.5% now. So there we go. AMC with that breakout now over $55.33. Look at that, huge volume kicked in, alert went off, and we're seeing that volume also come into AMC stock. The 5-minute chart also looks incredibly bullish right now, and we're seeing new high of days being formed, up over 16.5% on the day. So definitely, and the candle actually closed. So successful close of that candle over that level. So let's go over to the daily chart to identify what that next level is going to look like. So yeah, that's gonna be this resistance that we are breaking out of on the day. And if you can get that successful breakout, then you know that again, that's the resistance that we are seeing that breakout over. You guys can see that on the 1 hour chart. And the next level to watch would be at 67.30. If we get a successful close above $55.33, right? And that's going to be the next resistance level to watch for AMC. All right, back over to 1 minute chart and the 5 minute here. Alright, so let's take a look at Corsair Gaming. Apple really on the slide here, now under at 125, down about 66 basis points, and CCIV is also pulling back a little bit. Tesla down about 1.7%. So a quick run through the market here. So let's take a look at what is green. So AMC, GME, of course, green up over 17%, 6% each. Fubo TV, Upstart, CCIV, DraftKings is also pushing higher, up over 3% here. Peloton up over 3.86. So Nvidia is at 706. Neo up over 62 basis points. We got Palantir that's up, but a lot of stocks. Big tech is basically red, right? Big tech, fintech is red, with Tesla down the most, almost 2% now. Trading as low as 587, with Shopify, Enphase, Twitter, Apple, Qualcomm, they're all in the red right now, with AMD also pulling back. Dow Jones is in the red. Look at the drop in the SPY. 13 basis points now in the red, but this is the 1 minute candle. Oh, this is the 5 minute candle. So let's go over to the 1 minute chart here. Look at that. Seeing that pullback on the SPY ETF, and the QQQs are also seeing a very similar pattern, although they're not making new low of days. SPY is kind of catching up to the NASDAQ on the day. Very different pattern, right? Just consolidation for the NASDAQ and a huge breakdown for SPY.
What's down, and you see financial and raw material stocks off about 0.3% based on their indexes. One group that's moving up that's noteworthy is biotechnology. You have Biogen leading the group higher as investors await the decision from U.S. regulators about the company's Alzheimer's drug, aducanumab. And Biogen has actually been the best performer in the S&P 500 Biotech Index this year, consisting of 8 stocks. And you can see that 5.6% gain for the year, trailing the S&P 500. Relative weakness in AbbVie and Amgen, which between them account for more than half of the index's value.
Dave Wilson, thank you so much. Coming up, the market-moving events that you need to be watching. That's next in our trading diary. In the markets, it is sleepy. Nothing happening. It fluctuating.
All right. So biotech, we also covered over the weekend. If you guys remember, ticker symbol XBI. Not sure where it's trading right now. So we're up slightly over 70 basis points, but this was an index or ETF, so to speak, that I basically mentioned, you want to keep it on your watch because we are down over 27% year to date, and this ETF has also performed really well over the last 15 years. With the max drawdown was 16% year to date on, I think it was 2008 in the middle of the housing bubble, and then a couple more years that we saw that pullback. But still, it has a lot of potential with biotech companies within it. So Harry says NDX sliding towards low of day. Yeah, so we're almost there. 334 is the low for the day. The candle low here was at 334.70. So almost there. So Jason says SPY 390 end of week. 390. That's going to be a bit of a pullback here. Let me take a look. So 390 from its current levels would be a pullback of over 7.5%. And this week, this week you think SPY is going to pull back 7%? Why do you think? Is it because of inflation? So Marcus says, done with Tesla, finally sold all Tesla and ARK. Yeah, Tesla is down a little bit over close to 2% now. And I've been seeing a lot of, on Twitter too, like every time I go there, of course, with Elon Musk being the biggest influence there, a lot of people, I don't know if it's actually true or not, they're actually sending screenshots of their cancellations of their orders, only because they're apparently mad at Elon Musk for what he's been doing to the crypto markets, which was very different. Didn't know what to make of it, but so are you trading at night in India? So yeah, it is a little bit past 7:30 p.m. here. Again, the markets are open at 7 p.m. here. They trade past midnight till like 2:30 in the morning, and then of course after hours goes till 2:30 till like 5 in the morning, or 5:30, 6:30 in the morning. All right, look at AMC stock on the 5-minute chart. Like, look at that breakout and the follow through with the volume there for AMC, just under $60 per share for AMC. Wow. So CCIV, Krish, we covered that. You can go back on the live stream and definitely watch that. But NEO is up almost 1%. And we got CCIV up a little bit over 4.5%. Let's take a look at Workhorse here. Look at that, Workhorse also with the massive move to the upside, right? Making high of day at 1450, up over 11%. So let's see where AMC is gonna have that next support. If I bring out the 21 EMA, I think it's really diverged away from that 21 exponential moving average quite a bit. So let me go into shorter time frames. We can actually go to like as low as 30 seconds time frame. Let's do that for a second. And you'll notice a move higher. We were forming some type of a horizontal pattern here, then a breakout back test of that resistance before making the next leg up higher. Right now we're coming back down to that 21 EMA. The middle weave up on the 30-second time frame. This is not the 1 minute. This is not a daily. It's nothing. This is 30 seconds of trading. We're trading at $55.30 at the middle weave up here. If you go into the 1 minute chart, we're seeing that getting bought up very, very quickly as well right now, up over 22%. So SPY making some type of recovery here, and the Nasdaq is pretty much flat, consolidating. Nothing really going on. What do you think about NEO? Are we breaking out over $43 today? Tesla just under 590 right now, still struggling at 590 levels. But AMC on the move, like quite a bit of a move here. Gamestop. So Gamestop is up over 6% here. Let's take a look at Microvision. That's up over 7.7%. Workhorse up over 12.5%. Institutions, they just don't see it coming. They just keep shorting and they just keep piling onto their bets. Yeah, all the shorted stocks are right now just absolutely having that momentum. Let's take a look at Clover Health. Up over 11%. I mean, it's all the stocks that have huge short interest. What are some other stocks that have high short interest right now? So we checked out Workhorse, we checked out Clover Health, AMC, GameStop. So other than that, I think, let's take a look. BlackBerry, let's check out BlackBerry here. So up over 9% almost with that huge move. So same pattern, right? We had some type of a pullback, push higher, incredible move to the upside here. Kind of looked like a cup and handle pattern, but there was like no handle, so to speak. We didn't like come down before the breakout happened. We actually did push up aggressively to begin with. Take a look at SNDL, Sundial. up over 10%. But the volume is like, there is a lot of volume, but of course with the low price stock, there is bids and asks are like, the spread is like 1 cent. That's why we're seeing like these patterns here, like the candles you see, because the spread is just 1 cent, right? So let's take a look at Blink Charging. Up over 2%, so still pushing higher in the green. So take a look at Bed Bath & Beyond. Up over 5.8%. Let's take a look at... Alright, let's listen on this.
That they sort of took the plug off of. We'll talk about that later on in the hour. And obviously AMC, the meme stock's popping. And I gotta say, Guy, we missed you last week. You missed the next AMC frenzy.
Yeah.
How did that feel? I'm sure you were worried.
Well, I don't think I've missed it, judging by the price action today. Looks like we may be in for a little bit more. I appreciate last week was a little bit more ludicrous, but certainly today, that's a decent pop in that stock. But it feels as if these markets are on holiday, looking for another catalyst, and maybe I missed out on a little bit of that last week as well.
Definitely did. We definitely missed you. But you should have had some kind of catalyst with Janet Yellen and her remarks that higher rates are a plus. We're going to get that throughout the next couple hours, but nothing. No real reaction here. I mean, the NASDAQ totally flat. You would think that if you have higher taxes globally for companies at 15% minimum, that would affect tech companies the most. Yet the NASDAQ completely holding up. We'll break that down
I think that's
the
not
next
the
couple
narrative
hours
here,
as well. Now,
I think they're right about the taxes. Yes, that should affect like earnings per share and corporate profits. But I think the bigger narrative that the market is waiting for is inflation. I think it's the same situation for the broader markets that we looked at last week when the markets were muted going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday that data came out for unemployment, and that's when we saw volatility Thursday and Friday for the markets. I think that's the plan here this week too. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, except for stocks like AMC, GME, some of those other companies that are going to be volatile. But other than that, the markets can be muted going into those days, and then we see that pressure built in, the volatility to also see that move. So Palantir Long-Term Buy, yes, in my opinion it is. It's easily a well over $100 billion market cap company, right now sitting at $44 billion, represents over 100% upside, price target of well over $50, support at close to $22.30. Let me bring that down very quickly. So support at $22.50 levels, at close to that level, and resistance $24.30 that we're watching for Palantir to break out over, and the next level to watch is $24.50 levels. So AMC is pulling back, it's no doubt, but we're still making progress here. So we're still making higher highs and higher lows. So you'll notice that we did come down, validated the 21 EMA, validated the 50 exponential moving average, because we did move away quite a bit after this huge move. And now we're just forming these higher lows, right? So these right here are going to be the higher lows for AMC. And it's got massive support. So I'll actually go ahead and turn this level back into a support now for AMC because we're back testing that level right before making the next leg up higher. So the next resistance on the day that we need to see breakout over is going to be at close to $60. That right there is going to be the level to watch. So I got you're covering AMC. Yes, I am, because there's a lot of people that are interested in AMC, so definitely covering it for you guys. And alongside covering a lot of other stocks as well, and the macros and the markets as well. SPY, the pullback here is amazing, right? 18 basis points coming down, and the NASDAQ is just pretty much flat. That just goes to show that we're seeing a little bit of a rotation here, just slightly, only because NASDAQ, of course, is healthcare tech heavy, is holding up, as opposed to SPY, which is more so with value and other companies as well. So if you take a look at this, what's moving? What is moving? And if you guys remember these ticker symbols, you guys tell me, what do you guys see moving on the day, right? So what are sectors that are moving versus what are actually the ones that are down in the red? What do you guys think? And this is our daily select sector indices. We can take a look at this and you can understand which sectors are performing well versus which ones aren't. Year to date, on the month, on the day, by the minute, gives us a good understanding on the sectors. So XPEV been outperforming NEO the past month. Yes, XPEN has been up like over 60% or 70%. But here, I mean, it's very clear, right? Real estate up over 45 basis points. It is just credit card companies. So banking, yes, down about almost 1%. Financials is the biggest, pullback or the loser on the day. And we got real estate, we got consumer staples, utilities, technology that's relatively up, and then industrials, materials, and financials. So industrials, materials, financials, three of the value sectors. So is energy, right? Energy is also kind of fitting that same category. All right, so let's take a look at some of the stocks here. So NEO up at 42.67, up over 1.75%, while Tesla is down a little bit over 2%. We were trading as low as 583 on the day, but we are seeing that push higher. Yes, money center banks all down, so AMC is still holding up. So Biogen awaits FDA decision. So it's up over 9% here. No, this is not it. My bad. So Biogen is BIIB. It's up over 1% right now. So investment banks are all down. Yes, let's take a look at the banking sector here. So we've got, out of all the banks, we got only MasterCard and Visa that's up. Even fintech companies like PayPal and Square are slightly down, with Goldman Sachs, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Citigroup, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're all in the red, slightly down. By the way, nice haircut after a long time. Hope you feel better. I do. The long hair was killing me. I've never had, that was like the longest I've ever had, my hair. And this is all because of the pandemic. And yeah, I do feel a lot better. All right, so AMC once again retesting that higher low here and the middle VWAP. So that's going to be the close to $55.70, $55.36, that right there, the previous resistance line with that support. Let's see if that actually holds up, or if we're going to see any type of a pullback here. So NEO definitely on the move here, up over 1.6%, just trading under 42.65. So do I think NEO will have a pullback soon? Again, that's the resistance at 43.30, right? So that's the level that we're going to be watching for NEO. So if you look at the daily chart for NEO stock, you'll notice that this right here is the resistance at close to $43, right? Inside this red rectangle. But I strongly believe that the bottom may be in for NEO stocks. There's a high probability that we don't see lows of $30 once again. For a NEO stock, unless the NASDAQ has a very serious correction, which I also don't see it's going to happen. Probably mild corrections based on inflation, interest rate data. We also have to understand the market is, forward looking to a point where it's pricing in what's going to happen the next 6, 12, 18 months out. So March, I remember, was the most brutal month for a lot of companies because that was a way for the markets to price in inflation, interest rate, everything for the next several months out. So now if that actually does happen, we could see some type of a muted reaction because it's already, to what extent is that getting priced in, right? That's the real question that we need to ask ourselves.
At one point up 870%, Guy. It's pretty amazing. Bitcoin's nearly 300% gain over the last year. Again, during normal times, that would be frothy, bubblicious, outrageous. But relative to AMC, it's really pretty small.
It'd be
it's
plaid.
Interesting to see
It'd be plaid, Guy.
Plaid would be the way to go. If you think about that, would have a plaid sort of trail behind it. AMC, it should at least have that. It kind of links the movie themes to what is happening with the stock. We're talking about Spaceballs here. You've got to go and watch some of the tips on Spaceballs to figure out exactly.
Have you actually seen Spaceballs? Have you actually seen it? You have. Okay. I'm just checking.
All right. Look at NEO. Just under 42.94 was the high for the day. And exactly the opposite trend here with Tesla and NIO. And we've seen that happen like more recently, right? Last week also we saw that happen. Let's take a look at Alibaba because I have a few people asking about that. So $216, we're down about 1%. For Alibaba, I would wait only because, so AMC right now, we'll get back to this, but Alibaba, this right here was the complete technical breakdown. We had a swing trade on this. We made a little bit over 6% on this play. We got in at $212 and it traded all the way to past 225. That was like the price target and the whole trade analysis here that we had. So let me remove the VWAPs. Yeah, so you'll notice that this right here was the price target at 225. We got there sooner than expected, and right now we're seeing that pullback once again. So you know, I would wait for Alibaba to potentially make a way back down to $210. That's a really strong support for Alibaba, and that would be like a really strong you know, buying opportunity, because that's the level that we have tested here from December 24th and even previously like from June and July of 2020. So again, we're forming a descending triangle here, so lower highs being formed for Alibaba, no surprises there. And this is the horizontal support at 212. CCIV, let's take a look. So it's up over 7%, trading past over 25.82. Yeah, so we're seeing that follow through and continuation, right? $27 is the next resistance mark, so would not be surprised if we get up there. The volume is also high on CCIV, so almost at 6 million. We're not even 1 hour into the trading session. We're almost at 50% of our trading volume on an average 10-day basis. So definitely seeing that follow through after the breakout. So $27 is going to be the next resistance potentially for CCIV, you know, based on previous support levels here. All right, so jumping back over to AMC here. Seeing that pull back a little bit. So now it's starting to pull back below the moving average, the middle VWAP here, and the trend line that it was validating earlier. All right, let's take a look at the markets here. SPY is still down 20 basis points. The NASDAQ is also down 20 basis points. So now we're pretty much aligned with both of them, but the trend is completely different. One more push for NIO, so let's take a look. So NIO is at 43, up over $43, trading past over 2.5%, $43 per share. And definitely seeing that momentum here. Let's focus on NIO for some while here, right? So we're gonna focus on the 1 minute chart here. Definitely seeing that push higher. So 43.30, that's the level. That's the level that NIO needs to break out over. The volume is also, I'd say it's high. It's decent, right? 13.5 million shares traded. 63 has been the average 10-day volume. So it's not like we're going off of a weaker breath. The RSI is also strong. You know, you'll notice that we are pushing higher. The relative strength index is also at near overbought levels on the day. So I'd be a little bit cautious here. For a minor pullback, maybe down to 42.50 levels. That's the 21 EMA before making the next leg up higher moving forward. Ooh, this is like some tax rates. You can take a look at this.
They don't. I think what's interesting about Amazon as well is that this is because they reinvest so heavily, but it was also interesting that Janet Yellen talked about the fact that these companies will qualify. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how they tighten up these rules. This whole story feels like it's got a long way to go. And that may account for why the market actually is taking this largely in its stride at the moment. There are many hurdles that need to be crossed in order for this tax deal to become a reality. Congress obviously being one of them, but you've got to get through the G20, you've got to get through the OECD. There's plenty of reasons why this may not happen and could be significantly changed. And I think that could account for what we're seeing here. But I think there's a broader theme. We're going into the summer. Volatility is starting to come down. You can see volatility coming down. And this is a very long-term chart all the way back to 1992. But we're coming into an area that probably is fairly good for stocks. And remember, European stocks are trading up near records right now. I know it's a quiet day today. I know it's a really quiet Monday. But nevertheless, we are kind of at very, very elevated levels. The VIX is at 17. That's pretty low. and could potentially go lower. And then you're finding yourself in a situation as well where it's not just equities, but you look at the MOVE index, for instance, in the bond market. It's pretty low as well and seems to be tracking lower. Manish Deshpande joining us now to talk about all of this, to give us an idea of exactly what is going on here. He looks after derivatives and has a pretty good idea of what a normal summer looks like when it comes to the derivatives market. Manish, thanks very much indeed for your time today. Let's just talk a little bit about what you do with the VIX. So we've got the VIX at kind of circa 17 right now. Do you think you want to be short of that? How do you get short vol going into what is traditionally the quiet summer period?
So I think it's important to realize that, of course, you cannot actually directly trade the VIX index itself. You can trade the VIX futures, right? And the VIX futures are actually even higher compared to where the VIX is. And so if you enter into summer months and then the realized volatility, which ultimately what matters for the VIX index, continues to be low as it has been actually for the last month or so, then you do expect that selling vol and sort of trying to capture the difference between what the market is expecting and what actually turns out to be the case would be a profitable strategy. So just to give you an idea, generally this strategy is, of course, was very profitable, and then 2020 was very bad for it. But then as what happens is that there is the supply of volatility, the people who are selling volatility step away because they got hurt, and also the demand for vol goes up. And that is probably one reason why, although VIX looks at 17, looks relatively low to what it was last year, it's actually still pretty high compared to what it usually is.
So what's the cheapest trade to express that view? And in the equity market, but also say in the FX market and then the rates market in particular?
So I focus mostly on equity markets, so that's what I will talk about. So the usual thing that we recommend is sort of the most smartest way is to focus on very short-dated volatility, right? So you sell sort of 1 week, 2 week, that sort of tenor options, because what that does for you is that you sell it, and then if realized volatility remains low, you capture that premium. But then if for whatever reason volatility spikes again, you're able to time average that in, and that's sort of that is one key reason why you want to stick to short-dated. The question, of course, is that you do want to hedge against it in various ways, and we have various techniques of doing that. So one sort of nice actually a longer.
Yeah, so they're talking about VIX a little bit, which is again trading under 17 levels. We'll see if you actually get a breakdown below 15 levels or if you get a breakout to highs of 20. But AMC certainly pulling back. It's testing low of day potentially. So coming down to this double bottom support at close to $53. This has been a bit of a unwinding here for AMC. Drop of a little bit over 9% between 9:57 and 10:20. So in about 23 minutes here. But NEO, on the other hand, has been pushing higher. We may see a revalidation of that 21 EMA sitting at 4250 levels or 4270. So would not be surprised if we do get that retest. And that could also represent, an opportunity to basically add more if you want to, because 21 EMA is acting as a support, right? So if I remove the middle VWAPs here, so I'm going to remove the 50 EMA and the VWAPs studies. So you'll notice how perfectly it's validating that 21 EMA. So, you could have bought here. There was another buying opportunity over here. So over here as well. And right now we are retesting that 21 EMA on an uptrend for NEO stocks. So what do you guys think? Right now it's a testing point. Are we gonna validate that support, or are we gonna see a breakdown below that level? So NDX, Harry said, it's a low of day. There we go. Down about 35 basis points. SPY's just been on a consistent downtrend here. Yeah, I mean that's the sell-off that we're seeing a little bit intraday. So now AMC is getting that bounce off that $53 support. This will again be the resistance on the day at 55.60 levels. Turn that back. So very simple pattern here: resistance, resistance, breakout, back test, push higher, lower high, breakdown, retest of that support. And right now we're seeing that 50 EMA and that resistance aligned at $55.60 once again intraday. So that's the level to watch for AMC as a resistance, and a support sitting roughly at $53 on the day intraday. And for NEO, Marcus says Tesla won't go back up to 700 ever again. Maybe 20 years later. The company has such a bad PR. Elon always compromise and deliver. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about PR and the lack of it, and so that they can kind of validate some of those rumors that come out and a lot of other things about the Giga Berlin and deliveries and all that other stuff that comes out. Gerald says that AMC gamma squeeze has not yet happened. Yeah, I mean, the options volume is insane. I mean, we've seen strike prices as $140, $145 per share, open interest in the thousands of contracts. So there's a lot of market makers that have sold call options at those strike prices, and for them to basically, if they're trying to sell covered calls, if they're trying to be delta neutral, because selling a call is a bearish position, right? If you're selling somebody a call, then you are basically bearish on the stock. So if they want to be delta neutral, they have to buy 100 shares so that they don't have the infinite exposure of AMC running higher. So, that buying pressure alongside the short interest that we have, can lead to a lot of momentum here for AMC. So 55.60, we're retesting that level, got a perfect bounce off the $53 level. Let's see if we can actually break out over that level. And NEO is definitely forming lower highs here. So, we did get that minor bounce, but we are starting to make these lower highs intraday. So I would be a little bit concerned, would not be surprised if we get that breakdown below the 21 EMA moving forward. And the 50 EMA sits at 42.47, 42.50 levels. Alright guys, so I'm actually gonna end the live stream here. It's been, alright, so right when I'm about to leave, you guys, we get like 40 or 50 people join in. So again, thank you so much. Maybe we'll do this for like another 7 minutes. Alright, so yeah, so NEO up over 2.27%. That's the lower highs we're forming. The 21 EMA validated so far, but keep a close eye at that level. Would not be surprised if we get that breakdown for AMC. There we go. So we're seeing that resistance here, rejection of 55, 60 levels. Once again, the 50 EMA. So do I think Tesla will go lower this week? I do think that tech and growth sector collectively is going to be under pressure, which is why we are seeing that being reflected. So Amazon down, Square down, AMD's down, Nvidia is down, Facebook is down. So it's not just Tesla. And the only reason is because of inflation, right? Inflation data that's coming out. So I'll be live on Thursday to break down the CPI, the core CPI, and what was the reason behind, whether we see inflation push higher sharply, whether we see it come down. But regardless, that's going to be the two things to watch really this week is going to be the JOLTS report that comes out tomorrow, so job openings, and the inflation data that comes out, along with the WASD report, not really that important, but OPEC monthly report is going to be somewhat important, and the federal budget balance is also going to be important. Oh, Mark, thank you so much for posting that on the Discord. And again, if you guys want to join, the link is going to be down in the description below. Suarez, I really appreciate that. So ladies and gentlemen, kindly hit the like button. Show Caddy some love. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Yeah, so the resistance for AMC 55.60, that's the level to watch right now. We are getting a perfect pullback here from those levels, and NEO is also seeing those lower highs being formed. So I'll wait if we do get a breakdown below the 21 EMA here for NEO. That's going to be at 42.78. So we're potentially headed back to down to $53 for AMC, right? We're seeing that pullback here. Still up 13% though. SPY and QQQ seeing some type of recovery here. So real estate really pushing on the day, right? If you look at the one-day chart, real estate a clear winner. Up almost 1%. Financials, materials, industrials are the biggest losers, along with energy. So some of the value plays coming down, with tech pretty much flat on the day. Utilities and consumer staples also up. Oh, there we go. So NEO broke down below the 21 EMA. No surprises there because we were pushing higher. 3 times we validated that 21 EMA. So usually when that happens, we get a breakdown. Right now we're back testing that old resistance as a support. we could be headed down to 42.50 now. So that's going to be the next support level to watch for NEO. At 42.50, previous resistance back tested support. So it was kind of like this pattern there where we saw NEO basically push up, get rejected, pull back down, break out, back test that old resistance as support, push higher, and right now we are going to see that 50 EMA also aligned with that support for NEO. For AMC, let's take a look. So we are almost on our way to $53. That's going to be the support level. But again, thank you so much, you guys, for joining in. Don't forget all the Webull link, the Patreon, and the TradingView charts. All the links are going to be down in the description below if you guys want to take advantage of that. Really appreciate you guys spending some time with me here. First hour and a half, 2 hours. Hope you guys have a great day, and hopefully we can get that reversal that we were looking for the markets. Some important things to watch. Again, inflation, jobs report, federal budget balance, taxes, and some of the other macroeconomic stuff related to the interest rates, right? That's going to be next week. So thank you so much. The market's slightly down. I really, really appreciate you guys joining in. Love you guys, and I hope you guys have a great, great day. Peace. I'll see you guys in the next live stream.